condensed
in a fucking crock pot in a hot water
It's
bath.
just like boiling.
Yeah.
No, is water wet? Is hot dogs a sandwich? You've heard that?
No.
Never?
No.
Hot dog is a roll, yeah, technically.
I don't really
It's
care.
open-ended, but it's one piece of bread. It's a roll.
Yeah, sure. I don't care. That's just like the internet shit. But the one that got me here a little bit was humans don't feel air, but we feel water.
I do feel air.
No, you feel wind.
Yeah, exactly. That's
okay,
air.
don't do this to me.
Do what?
Do fish not feel water and feel air?
They feel water and they feel air. When you pull them out of the water, they go, "Oh, no water! Oh my God, air!" They feel both.
Maybe that's because they're suffocating.
Exactly.
I feel like if you're stuck in water all the time, you don't know what wet is.
I think you've done too many drugs.
I've never done drugs. Isn't that great?
Maybe that's the problem.
You're the third person to say that within the last 6 months. Really? Someone else be like, dude, you're probably real interesting on drugs. I say, I don't do drugs because my mind is like this normally.
On drugs, yeah.
Already there. Well, you're making me think though of being in a flotation tank.
Oh yeah, right. Because then you start to not feel it.
You start to not feel it because it's the same temperature as your body for the most part.
Yeah.
So you don't feel the water anymore.
Right.
So you may be onto something.
See?
Or you may be on something. I'm not
or
sure.
like the room temp. They say like put the room temp as like your skin temp or your body temp, and then it's like it's supposed to be comfy.
So you put the room temp at 98 degrees?
No, whatever your skin, because your skin temp's different.
Oh,
than
right.
76 or
That's
I
true.
don't know what. I don't really know. It's all
I
real
want to say
bullshit.
like about 10 degrees below your core temp.
Oh, maybe. Oh, so then 88.
That's
Something
hot.
like
That's really
is
That
hot.
seems very hot
That
to
is
me.
pretty warm. That's probably
I
what
would
it is
sweat.
in here.
Yeah.
No introduction needed, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Bart Kwan, man of many hats, Barber Brigade, Just Kidding Films, Mike's best friend, among other things. That's what you put on your resume, I assume.
That's true. Yeah, Mike's best friend.
Yeah. Well, Mike who? It doesn't matter. Fuck
Any
that.
Mike.
Yeah,
Every
fuck that
Mike.
kid.
Yeah.
We're
MIC even. So
gonna try to do a couple bangers here with Bart, but as you guys know, we're kind of this new format. We're rotating through different conversations, different subjects, and one that I think applies to so many people on their own level is fitness at home gyms, COVID changing these things, and whether you work for a gym or in the fitness industry, which I think a lot of our listeners do, or work for another industry. Now, kind of the Zoom work day. Everyone's on Zoom, everyone's on email, and how does that transfer? And Bart, in private conversation, you kind of said it works so good that you're moving out of your city.
It moves good. It works good, and it also doesn't work good at the same time.
Okay, I like that. So we'll start with the cons, because I think there's a lot of cons that people haven't caught up yet, because we're only like 9 months into this thing, really,
Yeah, so you could still be in the honeymoon phase where you're enjoying all the good parts,
Yeah.
and you haven't really faced reality of it yet.
Yeah, like, I just get to wake up and I do my emails whenever I want, and and your production's way down. Your boss is not happy with you, but he hasn't yelled at you
Right,
yet.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's probably where it is, because I see it from the fitness standpoint, and we've talked about this for a long time, is like, there's anomalies. There's the Dan Greens, there's the Mike Tashirs, there's some of the Yuri Belkins that are just like training by themselves
Yeah.
in a garage or
Yeah.
in a gym, but solely by themselves,
Yeah.
and are world-class athletes.
Yes.
But then I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, there's people like you and I that kind of built gyms because I'm antisocial as hell.
Yeah.
You're pretty introverted too.
Yeah.
People don't know, but
Yeah.
we like that energy of people being there.
Yeah, I like the community.
Right?
Yeah.
And so there's a reason we had offices to begin with.
Yeah.
There's a reason there's a hierarchy, there's the boss, a CEO, there's all these things. And now in 2021 everything's going to shit.
Yeah.
So what were some of the first hurdles maybe you kind of see philosophically or applicationally of moving your gym business, for lack of a better term, online?
So, I think speaking upon community, I think most people achieve more with a group.
Sure.
So I think that's like the first thing.
Yeah.
Where like, if there's just one guy that's just jogging and he's probably not going to go, let's go 10 miles. Right. But then if you have 3 people, one person's like, let's go 10 miles. The person's like, I don't know. And someone's like, come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Cool. You guys are going 10 miles. Right. So I think in generally, like people do achieve more as a group, but going to the whole Zoom communication, like online thing, and starting with cons first.
Yeah.
The one biggest con is you realize how quickly people are poor communicators through text. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So
Are they
huge,
equally
yeah.
as poor in email is the question?
yes.
Because I find people are more poor in text. even though it's the same as email.
Yeah.
But some people suck for sure in email as well.
Yeah.
But for some reason, and I type differently. Like when I text you, it probably looks like gibberish, but you understand what I'm talking about. But when I write an email, it's more professionally formatted. Yeah, most people are different, but maybe most people suck at both.
Yeah, so like my team, we have like all kinds of people, right? People that run the website, people that design, people that do back end stuff, the fulfillment, like following production. We make media. We have like pretty much a whole company.
Yeah.
And you know, have you ever heard the phrase
Plus
like
gym staff, right?
Plus gym staff.
Plus physical shit.
Yeah, like they're like everyone has their genius, right? And so for a lot of people, communication actually isn't their genius. And that's the problem.
Yeah, sure.
We're like, you know, like let's say me and especially creative people.
Yeah.
Like you work, and that's the reason why they're in creatives, right? Because they have to find other ways of expressing themselves. Like, I'm not going to be able to tell you I love you, but listen to this. Ding, dong, ding. And you're like, oh, I feel it in my heart.
True.
You know? So it's kind of like that where like, especially with creative people, when you're able to brainstorm in person and you feel their energy, like you get so much done. And then afterwards, there's like a call to action. Okay, you do this part, I do this part, we'll meet back.
Yeah.
Right? And then almost like the next day, if you guys are having like a regular like work schedule Monday through Friday, you start where you left off and you build this momentum. When you're working online, this person right after is like, oh shit, my dog shit on the floor. You know, they're like wiping the dog shit off a carpet.
Yeah.
Or like
Their kid or
they need to go outside. Yeah, they're hungry, or they need to go masturbate or something, like whatever.
Mid-work masturbate? Is that the issue Barbara Brigade's having?
Yeah, like everyone's schedule is just crazy now. So it's not really controlled. It's not like a team environment, you know? And so we're not all going through the same things. And sometimes like 48 hours later, I'm expecting to receive something. And then they're like, oh, so what was that thing we talked about again? I'm like, oh, shit. So it's kind of like it's a constant two steps forward, one step back. Where that's supposed to be like a one-time thing that jumpstarts you. Like that phrase is supposed to be like, oh, I got to do this one step back to go two steps forward. But it feels like the whole time it's like that when people aren't excellent communicators, and on both ends.
Sure.
Because I mean, I fuck up too, you know. So there's
you're
time.
a creative.
Yeah, and then I think like the way the hierarchy is, like how you're explaining, it's like the higher up you go, the more things you're involved in, right? So if this person is a specialist here, I'm like only talking to them about this for whatever, and they take off and they go kill it. If I come back a week later, sometimes I'm the one that's like, wait, where did we leave off?
Right.
But then versus like if we're all together, it's easier to constantly bounce back ideas, get reminded of their face. You walk by their desk, you see.
Yeah.
So unless you have like an extremely like streamlined system, like the way like maybe these tech or app companies in Silicon Valley have, I think it's really hard.
Yeah, and the bigger, like you said, the specialist, the bigger the company, the more refined your job is, because there's more employees.
Yeah.
So like I'm just the Excel guy if I work for this huge company, where even Barbara Brigade, like you guys have a great system and a big team, but you're not Facebook.
Yeah.
So couple people have a couple hats.
Yeah, and everyone has like are sharing hats.
Yeah.
And then if there's not the direct handoff, it's like sometimes, oh, I thought you had it. No, I thought you had it.
Right.
You know?
Or like on a show and tell, get excited. That's kind of what, obviously our team is tiny, and I like it that way, and we want to scale and grow, but you know, we want that because I can just like text. It's easy. Like we have multiple hats, but we have our own hats too, separate, and I'll just like text them like, hey, this is the shirt we're working on right now. And then I'm working with the designer back and forth or whatever it might be, but it's in person, the show and tell is easy.
One of our other friends in the fitness space, and because, you know, like, I think when you get into, like, business, I almost feel like everyone's kind of like a street fighter that's learning how to do MMA, right? Like, you kind of figure shit out.
For sure. Because none of us are business guys, and none of us had, like, business mentors.
Yeah. And then so you kind of figure it out, and you kind of learn the ropes, and you learn, like, oh, I got to get better at my ground game or whatever, right? You know him, too, but in the fitness industry, this guy,
is he remaining nameless?
He's remaining nameless because I don't know how everyone feels about it. But he came out of jail.
Yeah.
And he owns a fitness company, but there's a lot of people that came out of jail.
Yeah, no, you just isolated 90%. Now there's 90% we could be talking about still.
But I liked how, because I was picking his brain, how he runs business.
Yeah.
And I like the way he does it, because he was like, all right, there's only a couple people. There's the website guy, there's content guy, and then make shit guy. And then so when shit happens and someone comes up to him and they're like, "Hey man, like the Shopify, you know, like what's that's like whatever." He goes, "Is that the website?" He goes, "Yeah, go over there."
Yeah, Timmy.
Yeah. And it's like, "Oh man, this T-shirt or like or these supplements.
Yeah.
Are you making some shit?" Then go.
Make shit guy. Yeah.
So it's like really like
you have to.
I'm like sometimes like I'm like maybe going towards the Silicon Valley route isn't the best way.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be boiling it down going this
The
way.
San Andreas route, the
Yeah.
San Quentin route.
Exactly.
Well, that's a functional organization.
Yeah.
chart.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
it
technically,
is.
like, I do have the business education. I did all that shit.
Yeah.
But it's weird for me going through this because, like, I'm suddenly remembering, oh, wait a minute, you're supposed to do it like that, and then it's supposed to work like that, and it's supposed to be more streamlined
Yeah.
like that. Like, you know,
There's probably a lot that you've seen, like, oh, this I was taught this for a reason, and oh, I was taught this.
bachelor's, everything is purely theoretical, and you don't have any experience. You get some experience in between, and you go back, and you realize that the models that they're teaching you describe the experiences.
Sure.
But in some ways, they constrain your ideas about how things work, and then you have to.
And that's
obviously
why
break out of
masters
that.
usually like they require like 2 or 3 years of work experience
Yeah.
too, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
they want you
Yeah.
to like be out in the real world.
Yeah, because you don't make the connections in your brain when you go back to it unless you've seen it.
I see.
In my experience, at least.
So number one, you have seen. Is it just productivity then to loop the whole thing? Is productivity because of that communication slowed a little bit? Maybe not on an individual level, but again, keeping the machine momentum. Because your analogy of Street Fighters
Yeah.
is funny with business. I think of like a business is like this big old ship.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
like you have one guy. You ever sailed? Probably not. This is a weird Waldorf kid thing. I had to catch
Have you ever
myself.
hang glided?
No, it's weirder, dude.
We got 2 Waldorfers in the house
like-
right this moment.
We
so.
sailed this like pirate ship, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, and there's a video game that does this. It's called Sea of Thieves. And so like, you know, there's different ropes that pull different masts and stuff. And I don't know how to do it. You have a guy telling you to, but
Yeah.
but like Jim's just got this left rope, and he doesn't really know what's fucking happening with the ship, but he knows he's got to pull this left rope enough.
Yeah.
And I'm over here steering.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's CEO, and then there's
Yeah.
another dude over here pulling this rope, and you don't really know what the fuck's going on. And so I think that's how the ship goes, right?
Yeah.
So the ship's just, we're hoping on wind, and we're changing the mast, and we're doing all these things to kind of adjust its route to get it to go faster and where we want to go. Has the ship of the business slowed, or just the person pulling the rope slowed a little bit in productivity?
It's kind of hard to say because I think what's cool about having, like, I guess cool about having us is if there is anything that is dropping, we can immediately go in and kind of boost it back up.
Sure.
But I think the part that's hard, me and Jim, we're supposed to make these shorts, and our typical timeline is like 3 months or something, right? And usually we need like 3 months, and then we have to place the order. But now it's taking 6 months.
Yeah.
I think under normal circumstance, I would freak out. So I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, we're like, do I need to be that stressed out? You know, it's like, yeah, we're not doing the way we're supposed to. It's almost like basketball, right? Like, yeah, my free throw percentage kind of sucks this game, but we're also crushing them by like 20
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we having a bad game?
Yeah, I'll fix it next game.
Yeah, it's kind of like that where I think for us there's just so many things to focus on. That what I do like about it though is it shows the parts that we need to fix in the system.
Put a little
'Cause it's-
spotlight.
Yeah, because it's not an automatic like relay race. Like
Yeah.
I'm done. I pass you the baton. This person grabs it and they're sprinting, and we can kind of highlight those parts of the business too.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I think the communication thing. I get hung up on the communication thing too, because I know I'm sending a text to somebody, or I'm sending an email, or we're sending something to customers or whatever, and I really get up in my head about how it all is presented and how it's gonna impact them and whatever. And Mike has a different approach, and so that's why we bounce stuff off of each other, and it helps keep me from getting too stuck.
Yeah, and helps me not be lazy.
Yeah,
Or be quick. I think efficient. A lot of things I put in as good enough.
Yeah.
And Jim, which is good, he does beyond good enough.
Yeah.
And so then if we find just above good enough, we're probably good.
And sometimes I say, I have no idea how to say this. You start.
Or I'll do
Just
opposite.
Start.
Yeah, I'll do opposite. Like, fuck it, dude. Rip them, you know?
Yeah.
Go in. That's something what frustrates me is that working with online businesses, which we've both done for a long time too. Is Barbell your first physical, you would say, probably, right?
The gym, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ours too, obviously. And we've done business for years together, not together, everything online. Is that December and this probably happens in other businesses too, but people just disappear, right? Like, like everyone's doing holidays. You can't get a fucking email back from whoever. Shit gets weird. Whatever. I feel like this COVID, because I'm dealing with companies that do online sales, whatever, do online fulfillment, something, you know? They're using COVID as like a reason not to email. I'm like, your internet ain't down. Like, fuck you. Like, I understand what you're talking about.
It has happened to us where, like, one of our vendors just ghosted us for, like, a month.
Yeah.
And then we found out that it's because someone in their team caught COVID. So they had to do a drastic protocol or whatever. But then they emailed us a month after.
But yeah, why not email the day of? Hey, man, we're crushing. Like, one guy did that for us, too, and he was really good with it. I'll tell you off air who it was. Really good. Hey, man, things are a little weird. We might have a COVID thing. Probably get back to you in like 3-4 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. At least give me a heads up. But people were like emailing, like, yeah, we're really bogged down. I was like, yeah, that's your job. I'm bogged down, too, but I'm finding time to email you back. Like basic email stuff from another company saying COVID's slowing. Get the hell. We're short staffed. Oh, you're short staffed? There's me and Jim.
Yeah.
We're running 3 companies right now.
On a really small scale, even like anxiety for like the next 8 hours until they go copy or I got it.
Yeah. Give it a little thumb.
And then later they go, I'm like, I see them the next day and I'm like, did you send them the shorts? And he goes, yeah, I sent them, of course.
Yeah.
I'm like, why didn't you tell me? So even just like little, I guess, like confirmations, just making sure the message was received.
Right.
It's big.
Yeah, I'm big on that too, just because of my anxiety. I just get shit done right away. Like I sometimes I'll read into Jim wrong. I think he'll be like, "Hey man, like send me that logo," and I'll be like, "Fuck, I gotta give him that logo," and I'll fucking sprint over to my computer and give him the fucking logo because of my own anxiety issues. But at least I know I get shit done. Yeah, and I give him the thumbs up and yep, sent bro, got you. You know.
Yeah.
That's my issue with having an online business, even though ours is physical. Like all of it's online is like, I just feel like I gotta do shit.
Yeah.
If Bart told me to send shorts, I'd fucking run through a wall to my computer to send these goddamn shorts
awesome.
out. Well, it's good, but it causes like this. I walk around like this all the time. You know?
Oh yeah.
It does make it. This going back to your point about. Okay, so my free throws were not great, but hey, we're winning already, you know. So maybe I shouldn't worry about it. It is easy to get caught up in a particular idea as a business owner. It's like, we really need to push in this direction. And you get a little bit of pushback, not necessarily from your people, but just from like the world on it. And you have to decide at that point, like, do I keep pushing on this?
Yeah, is the
or do I let it sit and find out whether or not I was right about you know, just get any indication if I should keep going in that direction, and then you either do or you don't. But you can get very hyped up about a particular thing that in the moment is not actually as meaningful as you think it is.
I don't know if that's business or if that's more creative.
Maybe creative.
Yeah, because like you're a creative dude too, despite your degrees not being in that world. And like creativity, I find that's what fucks me up. Business stuff, I can kind of step back and see like, all right, what makes money, you know?
Yeah.
Like X. Oh, but when I get my creative hat on, I get caught up in like, no, I need this, and you're running down like this is meaningless, but I'm still going. You know, you're like, I'm fucked over here. I text you a lot about it. I'm like, dude, I really want to do this, and you're like, yeah, that's good, but like you got to worry about who's buying it, and you know, I'm like, no, bro, I'm heading here.
Yeah.
Opposed to your text and shit being slower conversation or slower communication, do you think Zoom calls makes a more productive meeting? Because when I hop on a Skype or Zoom call, and we don't really do these meetings, but I've had some over the years with you guys or whatever, you know, but most of my stuff's in person. My meeting, when I'm on my computer, like I know I'm there for the meeting and I'm just paying attention to the meeting.
Oh.
Where like I'm the goofy kid in class. If I'm in like a group meeting, I'm fucking around, or even on phone calls sometimes, you know, I'll be joking or whatever. Yeah. Do you find that those meetings in a micro scale are productive?
I don't know if they work for everyone.
Fair.
There's people that like you turn on the video and you can clearly tell someone like rolled out of the bed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, this person isn't giving me the feedback that I usually get.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, this guy actually benefits from sitting in traffic for 40 minutes getting to work.
Sure.
He's getting primed.
Or he got his coffee.
He's got his coffee, listening to his podcast, whatever. And then when he walks through the door, this guy's ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, although it's more convenient now, I don't know if this workflow is producing the best result. You know?
That
so
makes
it's like,
sense.
And then there are people that are just straight up locked in. You know, they're like, I don't do anything else. Because I caught myself because I have like pretty bad ADD.
Yeah.
So I'll have my Zoom, but then I also have all these things going off, and I see my phone going off. So now when I'm in Zoom, like I shut all windows. I'm only in Zoom, and I turn my phone over. I don't even want to see a notification.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the notification's like really enticing.
Sure.
You know, like, oh, Michael Jordan liked my picture? Wait, what?
All right, dude, that didn't happen. Don't lie.
Yeah, but like stuff like that, like the little
your
the small
Pornhub
things.
subscriptions ran out.
Yeah, that's more realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. No, I have that actual issue with my watch. My watch will go.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to get one.
That's why I can't get
Yeah, I
one.
can't get
Yeah.
one.
Yeah,
too.
Gio wanted to buy me one, and I tried hers because I had not a Sunto. What's the other brand? Garmin. I
Yeah.
have one for running,
Uh-huh.
but it also has some of the function where you can link the text and emails and stuff.
Right.
And it was just vibrating like all day. It started giving me anxiety.
Yeah, I'd be fucked.
Because there's times I'm like, I want to be with my family, and then I get like a text from someone, and I'm like, oh, I gotta fucking return that
Yeah.
text. Oh shit, and it's too much.
I've had my ringer, vibrate, text, email off for 5 years.
What?
What?
How do you know
Just
when
check,
to reply?
check every hour-ish.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
You
I
get
mean,
back.
I'm-
You get back really fast.
Yeah, I'm fucking around my phone. That's part of the addiction. Also.
Like,
I'm
I-
not gonna like I'm perfect, but like I'm slightly addicted to my phone anyways.
Yeah.
So then like this, I just nothing ever pops up. It never rings, never vibrates when I'm like working. So I can set it down like you said, and I can bang my emails. But then when I'm free, but there's probably been times where it's taken an hour. It's either gonna take an hour or it's gonna be immediate.
Because
I'm
that's
like
probably true. So
Yeah.
if I tag you on Twitter with something, you respond within never more than 10 minutes.
yeah, it's probably because I'm fucking around because I'm
Okay.
addicted to social media.
Okay.
But it's not
I-
because of the notifications.
I understand that.
Yeah.
When I
Or like working out. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to throw it to the side and not worry about a conversation. Not that I won't text while I'm working out, but I want to be in the workout,
the time that I disconnect from everything is I go for a massage for 90 minutes once a month.
Yeah.
And like I was wearing the watch one day, and my massage guy was like, "Can you just take that off?" I was like, "Yeah, you know what, I can." And I just put it all aside, and sometimes I can hear it rattling or whatever. It's like I'm just not gonna worry about it right now.
Was it because when you're getting a massage, you kept going like,
No, but it'll just go.
Siri.
It'll just go off. It'll vibrate or whatever,
Yeah.
and flash and all that shit.
and it's
So-
ruining like the chamomile vibes.
Yeah.
Lavender in there.
Yeah.
What are some maybe pros? Because again, like your instance is kind of interesting because you've done a lot of online work. But
Yeah.
what people don't know is even just getting films, which is predominantly a production company or a content creation company. You guys meet in person.
Yeah.
You meet in person to film, but you have meetings in person and you have a physical location.
Yeah.
Which again is different because which I admire in a lot of ways is you systemize things. You're not just like a dude with a camera.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
a production company.
Yeah.
And people may not know that. Maybe they know that because they watch your vlogs or whatever, but the commoner doesn't know that. They
Yeah.
just see your YouTube videos, the end production. Has that changed at all for you? Like those Zoom calls, or is it all just pretty easy? The other thing too is all your businesses are like established. Not that you're not growing or
Yeah.
wanting to grow, but it's not like you just started one like our dumbasses this year in COVID.
Yeah. JK's is actually a little bit smoother. It's been more established and it has a clear hierarchy, and it's like almost like a one product company.
Right.
So it's way easier, right?
Right.
So it's a one product company, and we also have a pretty seasoned manager. So she just takes care of everything,
Yeah.
and she gives us updates pretty much once a month. If there's anything outside of her, like she feels like out of her league, then she'll discuss with us. But it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, you have a flow.
Yeah, with Barbell Brigade, it's like a multiple. Like we got a gym, we got supplements, we got clothes. We're just like all kinds of
And
stuff.
content. And yeah.
So it's just so many things going out that there could be a lot of different issues. With the Zoom calls, what's been cool is I think people are able to kind of work at their own pace and not have to be together, which
Yeah.
is kind of cool, especially for some of the people that do deal with like overseas. Instead of having like a traditional, like we like to meet like 9 to 5 or whatever, they're
Right.
like, I'm gonna work in the morning, and then at night is when I'm also gonna work because that's
conversation.
when I talk with like China or whatever.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the day, I'm gonna just take that time off. I'm like,
That's-
okay, that works. That
Yeah.
works for you.
Because you got to work a 9 to 5 and you can't do shit.
Yeah.
And then they got to work a
Another-
9 at night to midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, okay, you go do that.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I think the Zoom and allowing people the flexibility to do things, I think people feel more free, which is cool.
Yeah.
But then also, I think from a business end, the parts that do need Band-Aids do pop out way more.
Sure.
And that allows us to kind of like troubleshoot and fix those things. Because I think ideally, you would have something that's extremely super streamlined that works remotely. Then if you guys are able to come together, then I think that becomes like the super team with like, you
Yeah.
know, like you get boost morale, motivation,
Yeah.
Pizza Fridays,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
good point. I also think that this kind of flexibility allows people to do jobs that they may not be able to do otherwise, just because the schedules of their lives are too complicated, or they got kids, and childcare is incredibly expensive, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's shut down.
yeah, right.
Like it's
yeah.
all
so,
weird.
so when people can split up their days, like you're saying, where they work 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours at night, or 5 hours in the morning, 3 hours at night, or whatever. If you didn't allow that flexibility, they couldn't do that job, and maybe they're really, really good at it. Maybe they're, maybe that's their best life, and it's your best employee. For that particular function. So
and they get to make other lifestyle choices too. Like someone in our company, their husband just got a new job and got transferred like an hour away. And if she had to come in, it would have been one of those like, hey, either you leave your job or I leave my job. But then now,
it's just like such a normal thing. I feel like my parents went through that. Like a lot of people go through that.
Yeah, but now I think we're able to make it work. She's like, I can come like maybe 1 day a week to do all the in-person stuff and get all that squared away. And the next 4 days I'll just be out. And we're like, I think that's fine because we did a whole year of not seeing anybody.
Yeah, that's really cool. What about obviously the pros? I feel like the pros have to be more because again, like joking but not, you made a decision to move cities in COVID because the scale had to be more good than bad. So what are some of the good things that gave you confidence? Because I feel like it's not even like good. It's like confidence. I have confidence that this is going to work. That's how business works. It's not good or bad. There's not good or bad decisions. Like I have confidence this is going to succeed, or I have confidence this is not. In an employee, in a strategy, in a marketing campaign, whatever, you have enough confidence to step away a little bit. What are some of those things that you saw like, all right, this can work?
So when COVID hit, I was like ready to pull my hair out because I was like,
you have great hair, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So
Bart, I know you guys think Bart's like 25 or something. Bart's 45.
45, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got great fucking hair.
Yeah, so I was like, oh shit! I just felt like the company was just gonna melt in half. And we were able to sustain like for 2 or 3 months without even adjusting any of the systems or anything.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn, our like infrastructure is much stronger than I thought it was. That's crazy, And then I was like, oh, a lot of people are a lot more self-motivated than I thought. And then so because of that,
what do you attribute that to? Hiring process, culture, all of it?
I think just going through the growing pains of business. So this would have been it was our 7th year last year. If it would have happened in year, I think like maybe 2 or 3, I think it would have been crushed. Because at that time, we were still kind of running things almost like a fraternity, like a clubhouse. Like people show up to work and they're really just laying on the couch laughing for an hour. You've seen that part. Where it's just like a big party.
Yeah, I've seen it all.
Yeah, big party clubhouse. And now it's like it's to the point where people know what their goals are. They know what they're supposed to do. So if someone's talking too much, they'll be like, hey, be quiet, or I'll talk to you during lunch. I got to do this. So it's like almost everyone, like not just the company maturing, but all the staff maturing, and then our systems maturing, and us troubleshooting throughout the years and fixing all those kinks. So the infrastructure is actually pretty strong. And then we spent all last year fixing the parts that needed the Band-Aids. And then we're like, you know what? I think we can actually move to another state and still operate this. Yeah.
And you want to get away from all the California hippies.
California is just crazy. I just want to get away from the human caca on our front lawn every week. Yeah.
That's fair.
What?
He doesn't have that. He's lying.
Yeah.
That would be really bad. I would be upset by that.
That's what you hear.
I know it's going on here for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
San Francisco, you hear. Have you been to San Francisco recently?
No. We just drove through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it. Like
I've heard.
under the freeway passes.
Yeah.
But like we just last week we heard like music playing, and then there's like a guy freestyling in front of my house, and me and Drew are listening. I'm like, oh, this guy's actually pretty good. But I'm like, but I still gotta call the cops on this guy.
Yeah, that's weird in your neighborhood.
Yeah, especially because it's like there's a lot of like dads that go to work. It's just a lot of like moms and children.
Yeah.
So and this was like 11 o'clock at night. So I called the cops, and then the cops like, wait, are you on that street? I'm like, yeah, I'm on this street. And they're like, oh, that guy actually called the cops on himself already. I'm like,
what?
Oh, okay. All right, see you guys later. It was crazy.
Yo, come arrest me. These bars are too hot.
Well, what's that? That'd have been funny.
Spitting fire out here.
Yeah.
Spitting fire.
Well, what's crazy, it's like, so the transients and the cops, it's like,
You're like on the burbs. I don't know if you talk about where you exactly live, but you're like on the burbs, like a really nice neighborhood and not downtown.
No, not downtown.
Not even close.
But like from my perspective, because I was ignorant, I thought it was a very like in the burbs. I thought the relationship was like a one-way thing, where it's like, hey, there's this guy shitting on my lawn, and you call the cops, get him out of here, you know, because my kid's gonna play there later. But it's not like the transients that have experience. They know how to utilize the cops to do stuff. So they understand what the public services are offered, and they know how to play the game. So it's not. It's
Was he trying to get a meal? You think kind of deal?
No. So he stashed something inside that empty construction lot next to my house, and he couldn't find it. So he wanted the cops to come and then shine their lights, so they all helped him look.
No.
And we just see these two SUVs, black and white SUVs, and they're just shining the lights going around. And he's like, I found it. And then they just left him alone. And he goes, well, it's good that you found it, but you can't be staying here. Like, you got to go over there. So he ended up leaving, but they just know. He was using the flashlights.
Yeah, and if it's not being violent. Like, I get it, but you're like, dude.
It's just crazy. It's just nuts. We're just there, like, watching our security camera. Like, what the hell is going on back there?
And then now you're moving.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
That's crazy. Well, I think we
Yeah, we can get into a part two. Part two. So as you guys know, that
let's do a wrap and then we'll.
Yeah, you want to shout out your things, dude? Where can people find you?
If you want to follow me personally, I have Instagram Vomit, where I just put whatever. It's Bart Kwan, BartKwan. Our gym is Barbell Brigade. You can go to barbellbrigade.com to find clothes, supplements, everything. And you can check out Just Kidding News for our comedy talk show.
Boom.
Yeah.
Is that not YouTube? How do they find it?
We're still on YouTube.
Okay.
Just Kidding News. But then if you want to see like the good stuff, it's on Patreon now.
Yeah.
But we do post regularly on YouTube still.
How do I get invited to one of those? You wear like bikinis now to film and like rated X shit?
What do you mean? I used to invite you all the time.
No, first don't lie, all right? That's the number one
You've
requested
been on
thing.
a ton of episodes.
I know, but now it's the Patreon, like the naughty, right? Isn't that where the naughty
Nah,
goes?
it's not really that naughty.
Oh.
It's naughty for YouTube, so we got to take it off YouTube to stay
It's not
safe.
just fans.
Yeah, I
it's
want to go to the.
Patreon.
I want to
Yeah,
go to the naughty ones.
Okay, I'll invite you.
I'll be on a couple naughties. Ladies and gentlemen, please give us a rating and review. Appreciate you so much. New episode every Wednesday. 3rd Street Barbell on Instagram. 3sb.co.
I'm at the Jim McD on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. And we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.
And we're out on that one. Don't you don't
You need a breather? You
just
good?
keep just keep rolling.
You're good. Bart's a tank. He's ready.
Huh? Oh. Stand by.
Is that good? Is
Yeah,
that good,
it's
dude?
really good.
I just ate shit on my bike. It doesn't look that bad, and everyone laughed at me, dude.
Dropped like a kilo plate on my foot.
Did you snap
Oh,
something?
yeah.
Like a dumbass. I thought I did, but I didn't.
My toe, second year super training, it flipped both ways because I dropped a metal plate on the edge on it.
I dropped to 25 on mine at one
It
point.
was fucked. But this bike, dude, I went. I don't know if I told you, I went head over on my bike.
Oh
I'm
my
just an
God.
idiot. I was hauling ass too. It kind of gave me confidence that I'm like, all right, dude, I'm 32 and I'm 225 pounds, and I walked away fine. Like you get less hurt as you get older.
Yeah.
Like as playing basketball, dude. My goal was to bleed every game. Like I just didn't give a shit. I didn't feel pain, and you wake up, people are like, all right. But like I haven't fallen.
Yeah.
I'm fallen in 12 years.
I
since
would
basketball.
not want to fall at my age right now.
Bro, I
would
went
do that.
flying. So it was such a spaz, like actual. I don't like brain fart or brain malfunction often. I don't love bugs, and so I'm moving pretty good. And something hits my chest, like kind of big. And I look down, there's like some shit on my arm. I don't know what it is, bug or fucking bird. I don't know. So I go to slap it off, and my left hand,
Just let go.
no, it slams the brake.
Oh, no.
I know, I'm an idiot.
That's the front one, too.
Front brake, bro. I go flying, and in midair, I'm like, oh, shit. And then I kind of kick the bike off me a little bit. It's like a little single speed, like racing bike, so it's super light, not a big deal. Bicycle for folks out there. I don't do all that shit. And then I eat it, and then I'm down there. I'm like, oh, fuck. I do like a little body check. This is bleeding pretty bad, but I'm like, I feel it. I'm like, oh, that's nothing. A little burn. I look, and like a tiny burn. This was only like 3 days ago. Nothing. There's nothing. And I fucking ate it. I'm like, dude,
Wow.
I'm fucking turning into Wolverine. As
Were you like
older.
loose, like flying through the air loose, or were you like about to brace real hard?
Oh, I don't know, because it was kind of quick, because
Yeah.
I'm not like used to. Again, in basketball, like you learn how to fall and you learn how to. I haven't fallen in 12 years. I don't know.
Wow.
It just happened so quick. But I know I didn't hit my head. I touched my head right away. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Arm hurt a little bit, and I just got up. I'm like, fuck. that was weird. I'm heading home. I'm an idiot. I wish it was a cooler story, you know, like I was fucking fighting a mountain lion or something, but it wasn't.
Yeah, but it was a bug.
I think it was like a fly.
A bug threw you off the bike.
Flung me, dude. I went fucking rocketeering. We're here with the one and only Bart Kwan, Barber Brigade. Just kidding. Just kidding films, just kidding news.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about Dive Deep. I actually found a really a good piece by, I wish I remembered his name, but he was basically 2 Chainz manager and producer for a while. And he talked about how much, like what music is, and counter to that, I saw a tweet where someone said what America's really good at, and they didn't put this on there, but I think what America's actually best at is culture. Although we don't have a culture, right, because we are a mixing pot, we worldwide, what spreads most from America? Culture, music, movies, all these things. And that's where my head goes when someone says culture, and maybe that's just because that's what I'm into. I'm into music, I'm into clothes, I'm into sneakers, I'm into basketball, stuff like that, and that always influences culture a lot, and especially hip-hop in 2021 is arguably like the culture of clothing and stuff like that. Yeah. But Jim brought up a really good point of how influencers, content creators, Fitspos, Bart's a Fitspo. If he doesn't want to be one, but those are...
Sounds almost shady.
No, it's
Are you influencing me?
I was in a meeting the other day, and I don't want to throw shade in, but they like kept referring me to that too. Yeah. And it what I don't like is that I feel like it dumbs down anything that established you an audience.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I almost like content creator more than influencer.
I say that all the time, yeah.
But even that's kind of weird because I don't know. It's just we haven't found the right word for it.
Well, that's why I say I'm like a coach. I say like I'm coach and I do podcasting. That makes me feel better. And maybe this is an ego-driven thing. Or I say like, oh yeah, my buddy Bart.
A little bit, but I get it.
Yeah, I say, but my buddy Bart's he's super into fitness, but he's a comedian. That's what if I'm explaining what you do to people, rather than like, yeah, my Bart, he's Instagram famous. Yeah, he's my best friend.
I think though, if you do podcast, you do YouTube, you do content specific for other platforms or whatever, content creator is like the only umbrella term I can think of.
Well, and then it gets so overused. Like in 2010, for you to like make a living and be like, yeah, I'm a YouTuber, it's kind of cool. Yeah. But now, like 2021, to say I'm a YouTuber just feels kind of weird.
Yeah. Especially people who have like 100 subs and they say they're a YouTuber. You see a lot of that. Yeah. Or people like, I want to be an influencer. I think that influencer is something that you can look back and say, oh, I became an influencer, instead of like, I want to be an influencer.
Right. Yeah. Or like, what audience... Yeah, why'd you grab your audience? Like, what craft did you master to get that? Mm-hmm. And that's no shade on people that are just flat out entertaining and they make content. I like that too.
Or charismatic too.
I love that. Yeah, that could be your talent though. Like, oh no, yeah, I'm not a comedian, but yeah, I can just talk kind of good. Yeah. like that's probably my number one skill. Like, I don't really have a skill. Like, I'm really into fitness and I can coach it, but I can talk okay. Yeah. That's kind of why I am who I am, which is also I think better than the term influencer because like Jim said, and you and I talked about it like 6 years ago. I think the first person came to you like, what do you want to do for a living? There's stories you tell me that you probably never remember, and I remember deeply because I think they're so funny. And they're like, yeah, I want to be like a Fitspo. And you're like, oh, for a career? Yeah. And so, like, that's like a thing of influencing now. Or, like, the girls or guys that literally just show abs or ass to become popular. They have no coaching skill, no nutrition, no background. They're just really good looking. Yeah. Gives a negative term. But on top of that layer, whether you're a content creator, YouTuber, whoever, are these people twofold? Actually creating culture and spreading it, or are they literally just a vessel to spread other people's culture,
like doubling down on what's already out there?
Right. Like, and everyone does to some extent. Like, I love tall tees. I wore them my entire life. Like,
despite being short.
They make me look terrible. I have the least made physique to wear tall tees.
No, you look great in them though.
Dude, now you're just saying that, all right?
Damn it.
You don't mean it.
I do mean it.
I don't look great.
Influencing you.
Yeah. God damn it, I'm hot. Like my physique's not made for it. Yeah, I'm 5'9", I'm 225, not made for the boxy look. Typically a taller, skinnier guy would look. But basketball, they wore it. This was popular up until like 2007, 2008. Yeah. And then now it's coming back. I love it. So we design a lot of our clothes around that because it's what I love. I think it's functional. I think it feels good. I think it looks good on most people. And it's in style. But I would never say I created that culture. Yeah. Maybe I created that culture within like 10 people in our gym because they didn't know or realize this stuff's back or it's comfy. There's a generation that never wore a tall tee. How sad is that?
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
The kids that were in like 4th grade when we were in high school rocking tall tees never wore a tall tee.
Yeah.
And then now they're getting their first taste and we're like, dude, this shirt is kind of comfy. Why was I squeezing myself like a sausage in these, fitness tees? But even me, like I would never say I created culture per se.
Yeah.
But there has to be some. There's culture made. There's Twitch culture. I know you're not super into Twitch, but Twitch is weird because it has a weird culture. There's like 100 phrases on Twitch that you only know if you watch Twitch.
Yeah. I don't know if like I think it's hard to like completely like originate culture.
Sure.
Because I almost see culture as like, you ever play with like GAC?
Yeah, the green goo.
Yeah. Like I feel like culture, it's like
That's so funny that you remember the actual term because I would say green goo,
Yeah,
but
like-
you remember the company name.
Yeah. So like you kind of push it, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of like squeezes out in certain areas. And kind of like, I think J. Cole talked about this, but he doesn't think there's any original creative idea, right? Because everyone's
Sure.
inspired by someone else.
Yeah.
So I feel like culture is also like that, where things are kind of like pushed from this area and you kind of see it kind of like come over here. But if you look deep enough or if you know enough, you know where it came from.
Yeah.
So everything kind of is part of like a culture that's like squeezed out and then it's just constantly moving.
I think because I'm a hipster hater, I like that original shit. I am kind of. I don't want to be the guy, but I am the guy.
But
like
it's so hard to find. Like,
no.
name me something.
I
and
was
we
gonna
can-
go.
and we
No,
can
I'm going.
trace it.
No, I'm gonna
Okay,
do
go.
it right now.
All
But
right,
there's a couple things. Like I am that guy. Like Bart's like, oh, I like J. Cole. I said, name 6 of his songs, Bart. You know, and you're like,
Yeah.
like I'm that
Middle child.
I'm that fucking weirdo, or like
Yeah.
like oh, J. Cole's on the radio now. Like, yeah, that stuff's all right. Like I like his mixtapes. You know, the term hella.
Okay.
As a kid, I would travel, and I would say hella, and no, people thought that was so stupid and not from anywhere.
Okay.
You know where that's from?
English. The English culture.
It's from the Bay Area in Sacramento.
Hella?
Yeah.
It's not from San Francisco?
Yeah, the Bay Area.
Oh,
Bay
okay,
Area.
yeah. I know where that's from.
Yeah. But so like that has to have a trace
'Cause
somewhere.
I heard it the first time in high school.
Yeah.
One of my friends that I met, he was from San Francisco.
Yeah, and so when we were in like growing up, I remember I would say hella all the time. People look at me all weird.
Yeah.
But now there's people. Everyone on the East Coast says hella. UK
Yeah.
folks say hella.
Yeah.
That's literally over 10 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can't root it to Tupac.
But it's still attached to the English gap.
For sure.
still
I'm just saying
Yeah.
I like I think in Jim and I've talked about culture too, like, and you're like this as well. Basketball, hip hop have these cultures that they like to respect the past or the roots.
Yeah.
Like Wu-Tang. Like people that like Wu-Tang are like they're kung fu nerds.
Yeah.
Like they're gangsters kind of,
yeah.
but they're not like gangster rap. That's like
Yeah.
West Coast. They're kung fu nerds.
They love it, yeah.
And that's why all their albums are kind of based around shit
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Like I like that rather than there's someone out there with a Wu-Tang tattoo or throws up the W and
Yeah.
doesn't have a clue what's fucking going on.
Yeah.
Like I like the roots of culture and like the meaning behind culture.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you by any means. You can't pinpoint
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Because everyone takes it right away. As soon as it's semi cool, someone's taking it and making
Yeah.
it their own shit.
Yeah.
Which is the beauty of it all.
Yeah.
But there has to be some, like there's YouTube culture, like shitty comments.
Yeah.
Like shitty comments have always existed, right?
Yeah.
Like the girl walking by the street and then the other girl's here and the mean girl.
Yeah.
Oh, that girl's dress is fucking ugly.
Yeah.
Like that's a mean comment.
Yeah.
But everyone who's watched YouTube or done YouTube knows it is chaos down in them
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
Like that's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
You know, Reddit is particularly strong in that because there are certain categories of jokes,
Yeah.
and then you're going to see these 5 things on any post that is
Yeah.
that leans in a particular direction.
Right,
you know?
or even beyond that. It might have even been YouTube, right? But like on everything, everywhere now, someone who's popular posts something, someone's typed in first.
Yeah.
On
Still,
anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
still,
that's true.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
like,
true.
And we don't know the root of that, and that spread, like you said, the amoeba to Instagram and
Yeah.
amoeba to
Yeah.
TikTok and stuff like that. But do you think that there is real, like, I guess influencer or cultures being made by these people? And I'm a hater, so I would probably say no. Don't master a craft. And I think you have to master, like a good musician has to master the piano before you really can get creative with the piano. You don't have
I
to
don't
be.
think that's necessarily true.
So I was gonna say you don't
Yeah.
have to be the best piano player in the world.
Yeah.
But you have to have some skills to be able to express it, I think. And it depends.
That's very true.
It depends on topic.
Yeah, that's very true. The way that I see it, and I actually, I guess, got to this epiphany through watching Taika, my son.
Yeah.
And I think everyone is born creative. That's
Sure.
what I think. And I think everyone's born creative and expressive. I don't know a single kid that's not out of their mind going nuts.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think as society, we start giving them rules to keep them, whether it's to keep them safe or to have them be like a stand-up like young lady or young man or whatever. And then you start limiting the creativity. But then the skills that they develop, I think the skills that they develop are to help them channel that creativity.
Express.
So, for example, like I love singers, right? And you hear Usher sing, and you're like, oh, my God, that's so crazy. And it's not that he can feel more emotions than me, because when he sings, I feel what he's singing.
Sure.
It's just that his skill level is at such a high point, he can articulate what he's feeling.
Right.
So I think going with the whole creativity and skill set, I think you only need enough skill to match your creativity.
Yeah.
So if you're a fucking genius, I think you're going to need some like classically trained level skill to match that creativity. But if in your brain you're only doing like blue circles and yellow triangles, if you can master those two shapes, you're good. You're doing that all day.
So you think everyone
like Taylor Swift, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't need to be an opera singer to make better music.
Yeah, her chords are pretty basic.
Because what's going on in her brain is just that.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Bart Kwan said Tay-Tay is an idiot.
Yeah, but you take like someone like Bruno Mars.
Right, or Prince.
And if you like dumb down their vocals, it might not fully express what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Now, I was watching this video last night on YouTube, and this guy takes popular music and he's able to like sample it out so that he's actually getting separate tracks.
Yeah.
And he was looking at Boston, the group Boston. I know this is old, but anyway. But the lead vocalist for Boston on most of their music has a really amazing voice, and everybody thinks about it as being very, very true. And the thing about Boston is the guy who was the lead of Boston, he was very much into technology and like perfecting the recording process and whatever. And so this guy took the tracks and he would play the vocal, sort of isolated vocal, so that you could just really concentrate on the guy's voice, and then he can manipulate it so that all the pitch was perfect.
Yeah.
And play them side by side.
Sure. Like a drum machine versus a live studio drums.
Right.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that it's not very far off, number one, but it's not better when it's perfect.
Sure.
It's actually better when it's a little bit imperfect.
Yeah. That's same with like jazz and like people playing music, like jazz especially or something.
Or even like when Kanye sings.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually sucks at singing.
No, yeah.
But the skill is perfect for what he's trying to express.
Right.
And if you took a better singer, it kind of ruins what he's singing.
No, it would sound weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would sound really weird. That is interesting.
And then so like with the whole culture thing, I think people that are trying to like curate it.
Yeah.
I think whatever culture they're trying to curate or put out there, as long as their skill level matches what they're trying to put out, I think that's great.
Yeah.
But if they're trying to put out some crazy sophisticated culture, but then like a straight up dumbass or they're not well read or anything, then
you look like a tryhard.
Yeah, then it doesn't feel authentic and you don't feel it, you know?
Yeah. That is interesting because I even talked about it this morning on just like an Instagram story. My like dream skill is to be able to sing. And I went to an art school my whole life, and I can sing. I know pitch. I know basic music theory. I've sung a choir for 8 years.
Let me hear something.
He's actually not kidding. He has
no,
pretty good voice,
he knows. He's fucked with it. Yeah, that's like our number one thing when we drive is we just turn on like R&B and sing. Yeah. Bart can sing, but like I just don't. I don't like my voice.
Yeah.
I just don't have a great voice, which some is genetics.
Yeah.
And kind of like you said, like maybe my genetics, which in terms of creativity, you could throw in the intelligence, doesn't match what I want to release.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
But
you just gotta smoke more cigarettes and get that raspiness in there.
Yeah, that's why I'll fake it. Yeah, I fake it. Eat a couple screws.
Give your voice color by destroying it.
Eat some tax. But that is a thing that has to line up. And I think maybe that's where even content, to me, goes through this evolution of not feeling authentic anymore. Because these guys may not have a skill of charisma, teaching, comedy, whatever, but they've gained some success, automatically go to like a Hollywood level of production, you know, and now they're vlogging with a Hollywood production, but they have nothing to say, they have nothing to do, they have nothing to tell, which is kind of similar to the outlet versus the creativity not matching up in a way.
There's also like the whole market aspect of it, right?
For sure.
Like, you know, if you're
how things are received is different.
If you're trying to sell like a Rolodex to like, I don't know, first graders, they're like, what's that?
Yeah.
Right? They don't care. They're like, I don't even
They don't
have
know the
enough
value.
friends to put all my friends' phone numbers on there. So like the people that are able to get like the Hollywood production level vlogs or whatever, there is a market for that.
sure.
And so that person might be a dumbass to you, but is probably connecting with all kinds of people.
No, 100%, 100%. And not a dumbass to me, but like I feel like you do lose that authenticity of creation. And I think a lot of
Yeah,
YouTubers
yeah.
or people would agree.
Yeah.
They'd be like, yeah, man, this was fun, but now I have to vlog every day, and now I have to jump
I
off
see.
a roof.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
would probably agree with that. It's not because once you monetize something, make it a business, or even just gain some momentum from an audience, all of it changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it isn't just now skill create.
Yeah.
Skill create. There's more factors.
Yeah, and I think because I'm on like almost both sides, like I feel like I'm a consumer, I also create, like I feel like I'm like all over the place. I'm kind of like a lover and a hater at the same time. So like, you know, when like Virgil Abloh's coming out with like the Off-White stuff,
Yeah.
I'm like, text with quotation marks, like $1,000,
Yeah.
you know. But then like when I remove that part of my brain and I just see the photos, I'm like, that does look pretty sick actually.
Yeah, they look good.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's, and if other people don't have the manufacturing and designing and creation part of it, they're only enjoying that
Yeah.
sick part of it, you know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I have issues being the pure consumer in a lot of aspects because I dabble or
Yeah, you see
because
the
I'm a
back
hater.
end of it.
Yeah, I'm just a hater
Yeah.
too, and so like I just critique the fuck out of it. Like music's one that I could think I can be pure consumer.
Yeah,
Movies, you know, like
Mhm.
other things I can just enjoy,
yeah.
and those are things that like I don't do. I don't
Mhm.
because even someone said like, oh yeah, you should go get vocal lessons again, and you know I'm like nah.
No?
I just want to consume it, you know. Like I would like to play music again, like
Yeah.
I played, you know, quote unquote semi-professionally or whatever. But like, yeah, I'll just leave that to
You
me.
should follow this IG called They Have the Range.
Are they rip?
They so they'll take someone like the most recent one right now is Usher,
Yeah,
his Superstar song, and they play his like riff in the beginning,
yeah.
and then
Just on a piano or something, or the actual song.
just actual song, and then it's a challenge. So all kinds of singers, they sing like people like that sing gospel,
Sure.
vocal
Mhm.
teachers, whatever. And you just realize how talented this world is.
Yeah,
Because there's like millions of people that just nail it.
yeah.
And you're like, whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's again going to like the create skill and then now making money or becoming quote unquote famous like Usher is so different because it's opportunity, it's luck. He can dance, he has
Yeah.
the look.
Yeah.
Like there could be a billion singers actually better than Usher. And he's a
Yeah.
really good singer.
Yeah, yeah.
But it just doesn't work that way in any of this.
Even with fighters, right? Like
No,
there's
for
people that
sure.
like beat the shit out of everyone in the gym,
Mhm.
but are they charismatic
Yeah.
at the press conference? When they show up at the day of the fight, they get their ass whipped because they can't fight under the lights.
Can they even handle a contract meeting with Dana? Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's real or not, but I think it is. Bones Jones had a meeting last night with Dana White.
Yeah, I saw
one on
that.
one. Yeah,
I saw
one
that.
on one. Could whatever fighter do that and not sound like an idiot or undersell himself or oversell himself and just ruin that deal?
Yeah.
Like Bones, it sounds like he got a deal done, so he said the right things.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's so multi-factor. Like yes, he can whoop anyone's ass.
Yeah.
But can you do this other shit?
Yeah.
The other question that led into this, and we'll bring it to fit of someone, and they now have a voice and an audience. Where do the lines draw, or what's your personal opinion, and maybe what's your broad opinion from like a maybe consumer standpoint, and from your personal, which I've seen grow and change over whatever your 15 years doing this, of being morally responsible. And what do I mean by that is probably all we could do is buy our own code because we all have different codes.
Mhm.
Hopefully that you
Mhm.
live by, or hopefully if you're over the age of 20, you start to contemplate these things, where your lines are that you think's what's a good human thing to do, what you're willing to do and not willing to do, and how you try to live business life, personal life, and your everyday life. When does that start to be? And so in fitness, the easiest one is it, semi-evidence based?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you believe in what you're selling? Do you
Yeah.
believe in what you're coaching? Do you believe in what you're doing? Do you believe in what you're telling?
Are you like more bro sciencey
Or
you're more on the
or
science side?
or even like but that, and you have to have knowledge that you're right or wrong. It's like selling
Yeah.
something you're not willing, or like saying deadlifts suck just because it's trendy, although you think deadlifts are awesome,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It's what impact are you going to have on the audience that you have?
Yeah,
Like,
and-
how are they going to react to what you're saying?
Yeah.
Are they going to follow what you said just because you said it?
And are you just saying it because you know the follow?
Right.
Because right, like I could go out there right now,
Chicken and egg.
Yeah, I could do a bunch of videos and just to get a following on and say some dog shit about steroids and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or I could just be a little more vanilla, which I am, and just teach you what I think actually helps and works. And I don't knock the bro science guys because I think some of them, they truly believe in their practices.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't knock them because I think that on the moral code, they're still probably hitting it.
Yeah.
Because they believe they're helping.
They're doing what's true to them.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not doing it maliciously. They're not telling you to eat tilapia because they want you to fucking choke on fish. They think that's the only way to get jacked.
Yeah.
And again, it expands to other things. And then yeah, where does that line draw of what you talk about or what you promote? And especially this last year, and we don't have to dive too deep if you don't want, it's up to you, of politics. The whole, the Kaepernick is the best thing. And I think about this a lot with myself is where does that line draw as like, I'm a football player, I play football, I have these beliefs. Where do I share them?
I think it's I think the biggest thing that a lot of people forget, and I think we all remembered earlier on that like social media was more of a two-way street. Like it's not just my account, but there's an audience.
Yeah.
So kind of like at any concert or any show, you perform something, you're going to get applause or you get booed, and it goes back and forth, right? And that's the relationship. And I think in terms of morality, as long as you're doing what's true to you, I think that's the best way to go about it. But you also have to have realistic expectations that there's always going to be a consequence to what you say.
Yeah.
Always, right? So right now we're seeing, like we were just talking about this earlier, we're seeing a lot of athletes kind of take the political road.
Yeah.
And almost take away all their fitness posts or whatever. And I feel their pain because they see like what's going on in the world. So from their perspective, they're probably thinking, why is everyone so dumb? Everyone wake the fuck up. This is the right way, right? But also managing the expectation, like if you're going up to someone, just strangers, and you're just grabbing them by the shirt, hey, you stupid fuck. The expectation is probably like, get off me.
Yeah.
Blocking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's
Unfollow,
that's almost the reverse of what you want because you're trying to do some good. You're trying to go, hey, guys, wake up. Like, we got to understand the things that are going on. But the way you're going about it is just as important as what you're trying to deliver. And I think that's the part that, like, you kind of really have to, manage everything.
Yeah.
So even for me, like, I try to stay as apolitical, everything as possible. I just want to promote more. I think the things I like to promote more are more character-based, like work hard, like be loyal to your friends, be loving, try to, like, see the brighter side of things at all times. Like, that's kind of like the world is going a certain way. So if I do put something that's kind of against the grain or kind of political or even more like social commentary, I also try to keep in mind what the consequence of it is, because on the inside, I do want to go, wake the fuck up, you dumb fuck.
Yeah.
But I also know it's just going to backfire.
Right. I think it can backfire two ways. It can backfire in one, no one's ever, if you're like Biden and I'm like Trump, and you're like Biden, and I scream louder and I say, no, Bart, you must listen to Trump.
Yeah.
That's never made you switch your vote.
Never.
So how are we delivering this thing?
Yes.
And then I think, the other one you were talking about was like intent. What's your intent? Is your intent to sell them on your idea? Is intent just to maybe help?
Yeah.
Because I think if you do stay true to yourself and you're true with your messaging, even if you're not, chances are if you have an audience, you're decent at delivering. Yeah. Right? Whether it's a podcast, a YouTube, Instagram, you're decent at that medium of delivery. If your intent is true, the message will come true. If it's not, it won't. Yeah. It'll sound like a sell. It'll sound like I'm selling you on Trump. Rather than just explaining or telling you, coaching you how I normally would on why. And I made this Trump Biden thing up, boys, before you guys get weird out there. But this is an analogy. Yeah. But me telling you why I am of this view. Yeah. That will come across normal for me because I'm a coach and I teach you how to deadlift. So now I'm going to teach you why I believe the same way I'm going to teach you why I think the pause deadlift is good is the same way I'm going to teach you why I think Texas are good or this is good, right? Yeah. Rather than, like you said, if it's not true, your messaging is going to come across like I'm fucking grabbing you by the throat and screaming at you my beliefs.
Yeah. I think the people who are screaming the loudest sometimes are the people who are trying to convince themselves that they're still correct.
Yeah, you're buying in.
Yeah. So like if I can get people to follow this idea, then I'm validating my own idea.
Yeah. Especially online, right? Because like if my views, there's little things like, like me and Bart both agree the barbell's a good tool. Yeah. We've never once talked about that because we just agree on it. Yeah, that's true. If we disagreed and I'm the only one in this entire room that thinks the barbell's a really good tool, I'd probably go online and be like, there's got to be someone else that thinks the barbells get too old.
Yeah.
And so I'm screaming out like barbells, and they're all like kettlebells, and I'm like, fuck, I am alone, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not everyone, because some people are just vocal, and then like the phrases start to throw out, right? And people like that I think are so stuck in the media and radio, but like the phrase, and this does have tons of application, but not in this sense to me. If you say nothing, you're doing nothing, or if you're saying nothing, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
I hate that, actually.
I do too, because yes, if I see a man getting innocently beat up right in front of me and I do nothing, I'm part of the problem.
Yeah.
I can go fix that.
Yeah.
But just to me have to go on my YouTube channel, which I'm trying to spread positivity, I'm trying to talk about hard work, and I'm trying to help people live a happier, healthier life and share my experiences, and I go on there and just talk about brutality all the time.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
So just because I'm not talking about it on my YouTube doesn't mean that I don't believe in it or I'm not doing it in my everyday life. I've stopped fights in my everyday life.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I have to go on my YouTube and in the intro of this podcast every single time say, hey, if you see a fight, you better go stop it, Timmy.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's so many ways to look at it, too, where there's like the first one, for me, it's I like to ask experts on things, right?
Sure.
So I'm not going to go to like Best Buy and ask them like what's the best way to make a pizza.
Right.
Because they probably know about like, I don't know, TVs and stuff.
Yeah, MP3s.
So when I do see athletes.
Or nothings. Often they know about nothing.
That was
Exactly.
a bad one, dude. Fuck Best Buy.
Yeah. So when I see like, I don't know, like the first time when I see like athletes or celebrities talking about political things, my first go-to is like, what the fuck do you know?
Yeah,
That's my
hard.
that's my first thing. And then the other part, when I do see people asking people that are not in the politics about like what their position is, or you're doing saying nothing is even worse, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like it kind of blows my mind, like why people even go there. And I also think maybe that's to Jim's point, where there are people that are like, this is how I feel, but I don't know if I feel this is the right way. I hope my favorite person also agrees with me, and maybe that's why they're looking for it. But it's just so weird, you know.
It does get really complicated as you start to dive into it, because then I also believe like, because I've had the same conversations in my head, like this may be the hot take of the day, but everyone's pushing everyone to vote all the time whenever there's an election.
Yeah.
I don't want dumb, uneducated people voting, and I don't mean by education level, and I don't mean that. I mean that if you're not going to
inform people,
if you're not going to read on the topic or the person running or the opposite person running, you're just checking off a box and taking my fate with you.
Yeah.
Unless you agree with me and it's totally vote, and I don't care if you think about it at all.
You know what I mean? But that's kind of the similar thing you're talking about. Like, yeah, if you don't, and then opposite that, who's to say the athlete? Because we don't know. Who's to say the athlete's mom wasn't a politician or they read everything about politics? We don't know.
Yeah. I actually think this might even be a hotter take.
Take it, dude.
But I think voting's stupid.
Hit them.
And you know why?
That's because you're Chinese, dude.
No.
Now you're really getting into some shit.
No, the reason why I say it's stupid is, and I'm not saying like, in
you hate
general,
democracy. Bart hates democracy.
No, I'm not saying in general, but I'm like, it's taking like the most fast food approach to deciding what to do, and then putting pen to paper, and now that's permanent.
They've tried. Yeah, I mean,
right?
they try to make it slick. Because
like,
it's radio ads. Like, where do you get real information? That's a whole nother topic, right? Of the media and influence. And
yeah.
Now you're just taking a radio ad. This is brought to you by Jim McDonald, who's running for senator.
Yeah.
Throw your trash away. Trash is bad. Recycle, recycle.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what you hear. And they're like, oh, I heard that McDonald name. Yeah, I do think trash is bad.
This long.
Yeah, I do think trash is bad. All right, I'll vote for him.
Yeah, because like imagine even in a business, right? You're trying to release like, let's say, a pair of like performance shorts, even, right?
All right, dude, plug away if you want. I know you got shorts coming out.
No. Let's say you're releasing performance shorts, and there's like 12 of them. I think the worst way to go about it is, all right, here, I'm going to take this, pass it around to all like 50 people, and like go the 50 people at 3rd Street. Everyone vote what they want, right? You're just going to get a random arbitrary count.
Right.
Some people, I like the way that looks. I like the way there's a zipper. I like there's this, right? Versus if you have someone explaining, you have people talking about, okay, so this one's better because it's like above the knee. Well, this one's like, in trend, it's below the knee. This one stretches. This one's whatever.
Or the application. They get to work out 1 week in each pair.
Yeah. Like you really dive deep, and then now, okay, cool. We realize out of these 12, these 6 are garbage. Let's focus on this 6. And then once we get to a point where it's like, okay, cool, I think we narrowed it down to a few. Now it really just is like majority matters.
Sure.
after we weeded out a ton of them,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
vote now because we just can't make up our mind.
And we
right?
do that with like preliminary and all this, but it's still that's a fast version of it too. It's a
Yeah.
fast version that leads to a faster version.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of
Because the way we get it now, it's like, here's your ballot. Tell me what you want.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? Well, shit. Like, I don't even know. First of all, I don't even know what this is, and then I don't know what the aftermath, and I don't even know the context of why.
Yeah.
Like some of them, like you see like what you're voting on, like what the proposition is, and I don't even know the thought process of like getting here.
Yeah.
Like I was reading on Instagram the other day. There's this guy. He's going around. He's like a Navy SEAL, and he's going around finding like funny laws in different states.
Yeah.
You can't own more than one dildo in Arizona.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so.
And I'm like,
yeah.
what? What's the thought process?
Does a double-headed one count as one or two? This is what,
Exactly. What's the thought process? That also means people voted on it, and no one thought this was weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, so I'm like, if things like that can, like,
into a system, so they slip different things in the bill. Hey, Bart's brother's a dildo maker, and
Yeah.
I'm a donkey washer,
Yeah.
and we both have friends in the Senate, and we're slipping things in and
Yeah.
slipping things in. Like, all right, well, we actually just passed a bill to add 2 new stop signs, but at the bottom of the bill, because I'm paying for the stop sign with my donkey wash,
yeah.
they're slipping in that no donkeys in bathtubs because they got to come to Mikey's donkey wash.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
literally how it works.
Yeah.
Here's my 2 minutes on why our politics are broken.
You're gonna get Jim going. This is right up Jim's alley.
Like we're supposed to be electing people who are big thinkers. They're supposed to be able to evaluate situations and decide the best thing to do. They're representing the people. They don't necessarily have to, in my mind, they don't necessarily have to do exactly what the people want. They need to make an informed choice about what's the best
for the most
way to go forward. We don't have that anymore for the most part. We've got a totally factionalized electorate and the people that we elect. It's completely factionalized, and they are always going to disagree with each other, and there's no common ground anymore. And so then you have this initiative process where if you have enough money, if you're in your lobbying organization, your association, your business in general, you can get something put on the ballot, and you can just advertise the fuck out of it. You go straight to the people, and it's the same thing. Is this a well-reasoned law? Maybe not. Probably not, because it benefits a group of people.
Yeah.
fucks up my dildo
And
sessions.
probably disadvantages a group of people.
Yeah.
The problem is that we lost the common interest at some point.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
lost sight of the common interest. If we could get back to that somehow, things will not be so broken. I don't see.
and because
I don't
of
think it's gonna
that-
happen in my lifetime.
And because of that, it got so complicated that we don't know the repercussions 6 months, 1 year, 10 years down the line. And that goes to Bart. Yeah, they send you a pamphlet of factual stuff that says what's going on, but you don't know how that affects something else and something like I never studied these things, and I haven't been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what will happen to my taxes, to this, to that, to this, to my car, to my cousin, to my business. Like, we have to go to our CPA to say, hey, how is this affecting our business? I read this thing, but I don't know how that
I don't
affects
understand
my
how it
business.
works. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
too complicated
Yeah,
for me.
and then how will it affect my business 4 years from now? Like,
Right.
no one knows. It's all behind. It's the Wizard of Oz shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all behind.
Yeah, behind the curtain.
Yeah.
There's a curtain behind you right there. But yeah, the other part of it too, and I don't want to keep going too long on this, but is the responsibility for knowing about something before you talk about it, and having some sense of how it impacts your
Repercussions, like Bart said,
yeah,
to start the whole thing.
Repercussions, like I think that there are certain things you can do. I think you can. Political correctness is a thing, but like, just try not to offend anybody in a really obvious way.
It's so easy to not be
There
a
are so
dick.
many words that you should just not say because they're going to be offensive to
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
On the flip side, this is actually a specific question to you. I know that you put out a video about Stop Asian Hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you feel like you were maybe pressured because how people identify you to actually say something, or did you immediately say, I need to say something?
It was, I need to say something. And what's funny is I think like for years, both me and my partner Joe have been telling everyone in our audience, we're fucking dumbasses. Don't ever ask us shit. So I think they've grown accustomed to that. So they don't really ask us about anything that's going on, which I'm like, thank God, because I'm a dumbass. There's really smart people out there. Go ask them things, right? But when it comes to like self-defense type stuff, which is not really political, and like just self-protection, self-security. When it came to that, the reason why I felt compelled to say something was I noticed there was a very like sheepish attitude, almost like, what is everyone else gonna do for me? And it broke my heart because I'm like, you know, if you've been in any real altercation, like if you got your ass beat in an alleyway or if you grew up in the hood or anything like that, you know that no one's going to help you but yourself. Like the bully doesn't stop until you kick him in the nuts or poke him in the eye or something like that, right? So for me, like, I really wanted to come out and say, like, we all have to be responsible for our own security. And at least with a lot of the other Asian American, I guess, influencers or whatever that I saw, most of them was more a cry for help. And I think that's good. It's getting awareness. We're on, like, CNN, on Fox, on, like, they are covering these stories, which is good. So the awareness side is good. But then I just keep hearing the awareness side go on, and it starts to turn more into like an echo chamber. So I'm like, okay, to solve a problem, step one is you have to know. Yeah. Step two, it's like, okay, you have to now identify the problem, and then step three, create a plan, and then execute the plan, right? But we're so focused on step one that I'm like, it's just going to be one of those issues where Asians are just going to keep getting beat up because all we're doing is crying all day. And so, like, for me, also, like, I want to go out and go, everyone stop being a fucking little bitch. You have to fucking defend yourself.
Yeah, sure.
But I also
and if you're not defending yourself, defend your grandma because she can't do it.
Exactly, right? Yeah. But then I also understand that, like, if everyone is in like this mentality where they feel helpless, coming out with the message that strong isn't gonna work. Yeah. You know, because they're gonna be like, well, why aren't the cops doing their job, or why aren't they doing their job? Why is this even happening? And so for me, I'm like, okay, I have to. So it actually took me like almost a week of thinking about how I want to properly voice what I want to say. And I'm like, I think I have to relate it back to when I was a kid and when I really got bullied for the first time. Yeah. And I was really trying to relate, like, okay, the amount of helplessness that a lot of people feel, because I think people feel if I pay taxes and they go into law enforcement, shouldn't I be safe the whole time? Shouldn't my house not get burned down? Like, shouldn't if I call 911, if I broke my leg, they should be here within 10 minutes. Like, it should, but then there's also reality. Right. So I'm like, let me try to relate myself to when I was helpless, when I felt like none of the teachers were listening, everything that should happen wasn't happening, and what had to happen in order to kind of like flip the switch in my mind to understand my safety is my responsibility. So I was trying to relate that story with what I think was going on, and then so it did take me a long time to find the right words.
No, but it was perfect because I watched the whole thing too, and I even related, and that's coming from a normal ass white dude in America, you know. And I even related to that childhood version because I got picked on too sometimes. So. Yeah,
and that's why I think it's also stupid when people are like, if you don't say something, then you're part of the problem. Yeah. Because sometimes it takes time to think of the productive thing to say, right? Because your impulsive thing to say can actually be counterproductive,
right? Or you overthink it. Like let's take the schoolyard one, and I see Bart getting beat up every day by Timmy, and I'm the teacher. I'm like, well, Bart must be pissing Timmy off. What's Bart doing? Yeah. Like, but you know, and like that's a joke, but a real thing in sports. They always say the second person gets caught. So me and Bart in basketball, and Bart fucking pinches me or knees me in the leg playing basketball, and I give him one of these, I'm getting the foul every single time. Yeah. So teachers aren't dumb. Yeah. They might think something like they don't want Bart to stop that. You know?
Yeah. So for me, I felt compelled to say something, and I also wanted to make sure that, because my initial feeling would be like, grab him by the shirt, wake the fuck up, you gotta fight for your life, you know. And the people are like, what the fuck? Bart's he's a white supremacist, you know, like he's supporting the Asian hate. I'm like, no, I'm not, you dumbass. So I have to figure out like the right way to kind of like formulate my thoughts and then and say it. But I did feel, and although that piece of content is outside of my norm, I think for me, I just felt like the world was getting, or at least the Asian American community was getting too unbalanced. So that was like my way of trying to go, well, there's another perspective, guys. Sure. You know, like I know we need all this awareness, and it's good that people like that, like Obama is tweeting about it, but that's not going to help like a specific street in Oakland where grandma's getting their ass beat. The grandma's not going to be like, you see Obama tweeted about it, you better stop beating my ass. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. No, and I think you went about it kind of like, well, how we started this whole conversation too is like not only your intent, you thought about it, but how you would do it is so true to who you are as a human, which translates to who you are as a content creator. You found an expert, and you've even mentioned like 3 times that you like learning from people.
Yeah.
And so you grabbed an expert beyond you, even though you have some training in guns and martial arts and self-defense. You're like, well, let me go find the baddest ass and heal, and then we'll just talk about some tips that maybe we could help some folks.
And you know what's one of the
education.
One of the stupidest things about that? So I went on IG Live with Tim Kennedy because I've taken one of his tactical trauma courses, and I know he teaches like all kinds of stuff. One of them, he teaches a situational awareness class, which is, it's great for like, it's great for everyone actually, but it's like people at home are like, they just want to feel safer, feel more in control of like their house and stuff like that. So, okay, I'm going to take a guy who's literally in lines and do crazy shit, and I'm going to have him teach a class on how to be more aware of your surroundings so you could be more safe or protect your loved ones. One of the first comments I see when Tim comes on, it's like, why do you have a white guy on? And I'm like, because he's the fucking best at this, you dumb fuck. Like, this has nothing to do.
Why are we drawing lines now too? Like,
I'm like, what? I'm like, what's the? Because he's the fucking best. What do you want me to do? Like, find like the Asian parking lot security guy who doesn't know anything. Like, cars are getting stolen right in front of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is why there's like a lot of times like. Sometimes I feel hopeless as a content creator influencer because like you feel so much and you want so much good to happen, and then like you put out like a piece of content, and you go, you have a booger on an ass. You know, and you're like, oh my god.
We're like exposed. We're exposed to so much more. Obviously, the consumer is too, but content creators are exposed to so much. And obviously, mental health's a huge thing with COVID and even stuff like this. Like the media, like the world, it seems so chaotic. It seems like it's swayed so one way. John Mayer said something similar once about how much exposure you have to individuals. Like, and he had like exact stats. He's like, back in the day, you're supposed to meet. I'm making this stuff up because I don't remember, but you're supposed to come across 300 people in one day and 10,000 people you would know in your lifetime. He's like, now, if you have any kind of audience, you're getting 100,000 people a single hour, and you're meeting, 10 to 30,000 a lifetime. So the exposure and judgment and all this stuff, so much more. Like you said, you get now you're double thinking of putting out this content, although it's from such a true spot, because little fucking Timmy's stuck in his echo chamber and now doesn't want to trust a white guy with a beard.
Yeah.
You're like, this white dude's taking an hour out of his time. This guy gets paid to do this, and now he's doing it free on the internet to help your ass not die. Or get punched.
Yeah, he was training all day long, and to have his back even more. So he comes from like probably like the more right side of things, right?
Sure.
And on the extreme right, I don't care about left or right. My true goal is just to make sure humans are safe, and we want to protect them.
Yeah.
I might even go a little bit against the people that usually have my back for what I think is a greater good.
Yeah.
And for someone to do that, and for the one of the first comments to be like, "But he's white," I'm like, "Oh my god, dude."
Yeah, you're making this guy not want to come back. But I agree.
I'm like, how do we have allies in that way, right?
Yeah, that is such a awesome like key theme. Is like Tim Kennedy, who I've never met. I've followed him on Twitter for a decade, but like same thing. Like he believes his truth, and he went and did it.
Yeah,
I don't care who I'm teaching as long as it's not a bad guy, and I want to help a guy get better.
Yeah. Well, we are always kind of dancing on the knife's edge of personal responsibility.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to. Because if someone becomes a victim, and they were in a situation that they may have had control over, then we, in a way, we kind of want to blame them a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there might be a reason to blame them, because like I try to avoid any situation where I'm going to be a victim, and I try to think I have the same rights as everybody else, and other people would tell me that I have more rights than everybody else because I'm a white guy. But what it comes right down to is that, threats are threats, danger is danger, and you should be looking for that stuff. That's pretty basic for everyone. And it used to be pretty common, I don't know, maybe it still is, that they do self-defense courses for women if they were attacked, like, or what to do in a circumstance that you don't expect at all. And it isn't just about words. Sometimes it's about physicality. It's about getting yourself out of a situation, and that should be okay. And we should be encouraging that. We can say yes, a woman should never be in that situation, but there's too much reality around the fact that women are in those situations.
Yeah, and that's why I like the situational awareness seminar that Tim Kennedy was teaching, because it's almost beyond like what we think the societal responsibility is. It's just, he's like, when you're in an environment, you need to figure out and find and identify the unusual thing, right? So even if you're on a hike and you hear rustling in the bushes, maybe move off to the side so the mountain lion is now that much further from you. So this is
snake or
yeah,
some other
yeah,
motherfucker
anything,
that wants to kill you.
anything. This is outside of like
apolitical.
of color, politics, or anything.
Yeah.
Like what he's teaching is how to avoid danger.
Yeah, I
right?
ain't anti-rattlesnake, but I'm just not trying to get bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I liked about what he was teaching, where he was like, you know, a lot of these circumstances, even when I was a kid, like when my mom would go to the ATM, she'd be like, you stand behind me and look around and see if there's a random like parked car that's just sitting there,
That's
or
cool.
if
Yeah.
something happens, like yell, right?
Yeah.
But then if you watch a lot of these videos, a lot of people are just stuck on their phones, like, you know, heads down or in the subway or something. And there is zero situational awareness. So it's not to blame the victim, but the victim could have been.
How can we all watch our ass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're in circumstances you don't have any control over, and
Of
you
course.
know, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a thing too. But my son sitting over here is one of the like most hyper vigilant people I know. He can tell any place that we are. He can always tell you how to get out
Oh, that's awesome.
safely.
Yeah, I do little things. We talked to Tony, Real Tactical, back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Around the Miami fights about similar things.
Manat.
Yeah, and I've had like similar things like that my whole life too. Where like at a restaurant, I always just kind of like to be against the wall so I could see the door
Yeah.
with whoever I'm with, and I just kind of watch. And maybe it's just I'm paranoid dude.
From
but,
say Goodfellas maybe or something.
yeah, mafia drama as a kid. But yeah, like shit like that. I just like little things like that. I'm sure there's tons of lessons to learn. Heavy, a lot to unfold.
Yeah.
But we should probably go.
I should wrap this one up.
Shout it out, man. Where can people find you?
You can go to my Instagram, Bart Kwan, or you can go to my family vlog channel. That's Bart and Gio on YouTube. You can see me, my wife, and my little kid, and we do all kinds of fun adventures. And if you want to check out our gym or apparel or supplements, go to barbellbrigade.com.
Beautiful, man. Appreciate you hanging out. Excited for the day. We got some filming to do. 3rd Street Barbell, Instagram, 3sb.co. I'm Solid Mike anywhere you want to find me. Ratings and review always help. If you guys share this on Twitter, Instagram, love to see it. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
I am at the Jim McD on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.